So that's 120 areas where potentially thousands of these illegal migrants are going to be housed. So Sir Keir Starmer's gearing up to launch. Well, this is spin from Number 10, but we'll tell you what they're saying, because, I can sniff spin a mile off.
I could see the end of that sentence coming. I thought, he's not going to say this, is he?
So he wants you to think he's going to launch a crackdown on immigration. He's been there since July. Why hasn't he done it already?
Well, plans include tougher rules to stop foreign students accessing long-term visas by working in low-paid jobs, for example, as care workers and shop assistants.
Well, the Tories did that.
And the Home Office has also launched a recruitment drive which will see landlords given, this bit makes me want to pull out my own eyelashes, a recruitment drive which sees landlords given a 5-year guaranteed full rent deal at your taxpayers' expense.
That is an acknowledgement by the government that the small boats are going to continue crossing the channel for 5 years.
It's an admission of failure.
So a 5-year deal. That is astonishing. And it could be, though, that these migrants are moving into this 5-year deal in homes near you. So
that's right. We're showing you the list on the screen now. And one private contractor, Serco, has said that 120 local authorities are going to be impacted.
So they include Solihull, South Derbyshire, Staffordshire, Telford, Wyre Forest, Allenside, Carlisle, Bury.
So many of them are in the northwest of England,
Liverpool,
actually.
Ribble Valley. They're going so far. West Lancashire, Wyre.
And on, and particularly...
A lot of them in the north of England. So that's 120 areas where potentially thousands of these illegal migrants are going to be housed on 5-year contracts, which means it's going to take 5 years to process their applications, because one of the other things he used to say about it was, if you process their applications quickly, you can get rid of them. Well, they're now saying it's going to take 5 years.
There's no will, is there?
They don't want to get rid of them.
Predominantly young men. We don't know what criminal records they have back in their home countries. We don't know what trauma they bring here from what they've seen. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't offer some accommodation to a limited number of genuine asylum seekers. But let's remember who this sort of immigration impacts. It impacts the poor. It impacts the lowest socioeconomic group of people in this country. It doesn't impact those in Westminster who go to their country houses at the weekend. Let's talk to migration expert, Dr. Mike Jones. Morning, Mike. Morning. So basically, this is an admission of defeat, isn't it? If the government is saying we just need landlords to commit to 5 years all around the country, we've got a plan to house people who want to live here. We don't have a plan to deter them.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, basically, you have 3 companies involved in asylum dispersal. You've got Mears, which covers the northeast of England, Yorkshire, Scotland and Northern Ireland. Then you've got Clear Springs Ready Homes. They manage housing in the south of England and Wales. And then there's Serco, which is responsible for the Midlands, the east of England and the northwest. Now, the value of these contracts collectively is about 4.6 billion. They're 10-year contracts. They expire in 2029. Serco, however, is the largest recipient of cash from the Home Office. As you say, it operates in 120 local authority areas, and it's got contracts worth about 1.9 billion. So expect a lot more of these asylum seekers to be housed in the areas you just mentioned.
Using the internet without a VPN, a virtual private network, is a bit like taking to the road without car insurance. All it takes is one unlucky moment to cost you a lot of cash. This video's sponsor is Private Internet Access. They are the VPN to help keep you safe. Click the link in the description below to find out why over 30 million people have downloaded PIA to protect themselves online. A virtual private network is an app that hides your IP address and helps keep your data private. When you're browsing the internet at home, you give up a large amount of data to businesses, to shops, and indeed to social media giants too. Hackers have the ability to steal your personal data with ease, including sensitive information such as passwords, keystrokes, and even your personal photos. Private Internet Access helps protect your personal data by encrypting your internet connection to keep your data out of the hands of cyber criminals. And it's not just hackers either to be concerned about. Information can be censored too. When Canada passed their C18 bill, social media giants decided to ban news content on their platforms. But PIA can protect your ability to consume the news and content you love. Private Internet Access is available for Windows users, Mac OS, Android, Linux, iOS, and you can use one PIA subscription to protect an unlimited amount of devices. And we've got a huge GB News discount for you too. Click the link in this video's description and you'll get a massive 83% off PIA. That's under £2 a month, the price of a coffee, and you'll get an extra 4 months completely free on top. Also, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee too. Visit piavpn.com/GB News to start protecting yourself digitally today.
And the irony is as well, Mike, some of the things this government is doing is making it more and more difficult for people to have a buy-to-let property. You can see what's going to happen here. They'll sell them and they'll be bought up by companies like Serco for specifically this purpose, migration. And you do wonder if that's even part of the government's, if that's part of their strategy.
Well, it is, because they want to move people from outside of hotels. Obviously, the cost of hotels is much higher per head. It's about £145. Dispersal accommodation is about £14 per head. So yeah, it's part of Labour's strategy. Obviously, Serco isn't breaking the law. What they're doing is perfectly legal, but is it moral? Is it patriotic? Well, I don't think it is. They aren't producing goods and services to boost the economy. They're basically middlemen, they're intermediaries. They're, sourcing private rental accommodation and then managing the properties, and they're creaming money off the taxpayer in the process. And as you point out, having higher dispersal accommodation will put massive pressure on the private rental market. And for younger people, that's going to be disastrous.
Mike, we've got the local council elections coming up this week. Obviously, we don't have a general election for probably 3-4 years, maybe, until then. But I don't remember a time when there's been such a gap, I think, between the feelings of the people on the street and people who live on normal high streets, which are changing beyond recognition due to the vast numbers of immigration, and those who are in power, who seem absolutely tone-deaf/willing to support mass movement of people into this country. Do you see it in a similar way?
I do, yes. There's an enormous gap between the political class and the general public. I mean, in the previous section, you described Sir Keir Starmer as a globalist, and I think that's quite an appropriate description. I mean, obviously, Sir Keir is concerned with domestic issues, but his priorities are human rights laws, human rights lawyers, judges, and international courts. That takes the top spot for Sir Keir Starmer. He's not prepared to do what is necessary to solve this crisis. That's amending or abolishing the Human Rights Act. It's reopening detention centres, and it's deporting these people as soon as possible. And until that's addressed, the gap between the political elite and the general public will grow.
All right, Mike, thanks. That's migration expert Dr. Mike Jones. I think we're going to put the list of these names of these companies, aren't we, on the GB News website?
Yes, they will be on the website.
Because you might want to know if it's where you live, and probably chances are it will be.
Let's just tell you what the Home Office have said. The list of local authorities Serco shared on its website for landlords is not a Home Office list, nor is it a list of any existing or future asylum accommodation. Serco is one of several companies contracted by the previous government 6 years ago to provide dispersal asylum accommodation in different regions. We are restoring order to the asylum system and cutting costs to taxpayers through the removal of more than 24,000 people with no right to be in the UK.
Honestly, what they don't say is, though, that in previous arrangements, there were not 5-year contracts with landlords, they were a year. There's the difference. That's the big change here, 5 years. Serco spokesman said, this list of councils on our website reflects local authority areas covered by our asylum accommodation support services. This does not indicate the government will be opening new accommodation in these areas.
So existing accommodation.
Yeah. So anyway, if you still like to look, we're going to publish the entire list on there. And if you haven't got any these migrants in your patch, I suspect they're coming.